Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551. Excuse me. And I am back with a video review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at the game GYLT, GYLT. Again, I apologize for not saying the name correctly. For the Google Stadia. Supposedly, this is a timed exclusive and was also, I think, a launch title for the Google Stadia back in November of 2019. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, though, I'll have a link down in the description down below, or you can click on the card that will probably appear up on this video, though. When Stadia launched, basically back in November of 2019, the response has been was mixed at the time. There were some people had issues with it. Some of it was not everyone was a big fan of the whole Stadia Pro stuff, because some people were waiting for the free version and all that stuff, which came out earlier this year. But one of the areas that Stadia, I think, did lack was having sort of like a first-party lineup of games and all that stuff. You know, games are created originally, you know, like original content and all, much like what we see with Sony on the PlayStation and Nintendo Nintendo on the Nintendo Switch, and even Microsoft with the Xbox and all that stuff. But one of the games that they announced that supposedly was a launch title was the game GYLT. It was an interesting game when they showed it off, and made by the developers of Tequila Works and all. And it was a title I was willing to try out once basically the Stadia base, or Stadia, just regular Stadia, once Google launched that. And when they did, I eventually picked up this game as well. And after playing it for a bit, I honestly have to say that although it's not a big title in the way like Breath of the Wild was for the Nintendo Switch or anything like that, I will say it's a definitely a fun title indeed, even though I don't feel like it's the one that's going to pull you in to play, if you're, in terms of trying out Google Stadia and all. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons, and we'll start off first with the pros. And the first one I do want to talk about is the visuals. And I will say, the visuals have a unique art style to it, though. In a way, or at least with the enemy designs, though, but in a way, you definitely get a bit of sort of like a Tim Burton vibe to it, though. The enemies look like something ripped out of Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. I remember that movie as a child and all that. So the visuals, I will say, have definitely an interesting look to it and all. And I definitely like some of the art style that they did with this game. So from a visual standpoint, it looks nice, though, and I gotta give hats off to Tequila Work. I believe those are the folks who made this game, in terms of the visuals and all. The next thing I do want to talk about is basically the story, and this story, though, does have actually a message behind it, though. Basically, you are looking for a person who has gone missing, though, and basically in terms of searching for her into this nightmarish environment. But the thing about it is that it's where the theme that evolves around, and it evolves really around the whole issue of like bullying and all. And I think this is a really nice message that the developers put into this game, especially in this day and age when we have, cyberbullying, which is very, very unfortunate, though, on that we live in this time and age where we have that kind of stuff out there, though. So I will say it's a very interesting message that the developers put into this game, and it's one that I actually don't have a problem with it. I think that's a very good message in terms of addressing the issue of bullying in general. And last but not least, I do want to talk about the gameplay. And then I will say, at least for me, the gameplay is enjoyable, though. I will say the gameplay is a mixture of some puzzles and mostly stealth, though. There are some combat here and there, especially when you pick up the flashlight and you can use it to, excuse me, take down some of the enemies, though. Sometimes you could do it from a stealth perspective, or a stealth point of view, or stealthy, shall we say, to to approach it that's kind of like, to some degree, like a third-person shooter and all. But for the most part, every time you use the light to take down the enemies, though, it drains some of the batteries, so you have to find new batteries throughout the area and so forth to recharge it and all. So yes, there's some combat, but for the most part, most of it is focusing on stealth, such as trying to avoid the enemies or trying to distract them, which you can use either your lamp or a can of soda, to solving some of the puzzles in the game. Some of the puzzles can be, I will say, a little bit tricky. Some of them I had to look up a walkthrough and all that stuff, but none of them that made the game unplayable or anything like that. So I will say the gameplay is somewhat enjoyable, though. You could say to a certain degree, to some certain degree, not 100%, it is kind of like a walking simulation in some cases though. But I will say from a gameplay perspective, I do think it is enjoyable. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to part 2, which are the cons. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of GYLT. Again, I apologize if I'm not saying the name correctly or anything like that, for the Google Stadia. So now that I talked about the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And really, I can only really think of one con based on my time with the game is with it though. And I will say the only con I could think of is that the gameplay may not be for everyone like that. As I pointed out, the game is mostly a puzzle solving with stealth and some combat here and there though. But this is a game, I will say, some of the gameplay mechanics may not be for everybody like that. It's not an action-oriented game or it is an action game, but not on the same level as say like other action games out there. Some of it is basically mostly, like I said, puzzle solving and stealth, and if you're not really into those kind of games or anything like that, this game may not appeal for you. It's more of it feels more like a small indie title and so forth. Personally, I don't have a problem with this title. I don't have an issue with it though. I definitely enjoy the gameplay and everything like that, but like I said, it may not be for everyone. Everyone has their own preferences and tastes, but for me, I actually, I did enjoy the gameplay, but I can understand this title not appealing to everybody out there. Overall, GYLT, again, I apologize, I'm not saying the name correctly. I will say for a title that was a sort of a launch title for the Google Stadia, it's not a bad title or anything like that. I mean, like I said, the visuals has that Tim Burton vibe to it, though. I do think the story, especially the message evolving around bullying and so forth, is a very interesting idea that the developers made. And I will say the gameplay, like I said, is enjoyable. Most of it puzzle solving, most of it stealth, some combat here and there. But like I said, I understand the gameplay is not for everyone, though. So some people are going to like it, some people aren't going to like it, though. But I will say, I am enjoying the title on Google Stadia, and I do think it is a title worth taking a look at if you have Google Stadia and so forth. Is it the kind of title that's going to pull you in, like what Breath of the Wild did for the Nintendo Switch? Not necessarily, and it highlights one of the problems Stadia has. I mean, if Google is very serious about the way they're pushing it, though, having a solid first-party titles is something that they need, and we know it's coming, but probably going to be a while until we see those solid first-party titles, which is unfortunate, which means for now, Google's going to have to rely heavily on, exclusives, especially possibly timed exclusive. I know not everyone likes the idea of timed exclusives, I can understand that, but some people don't mind it at all. We saw that what happened with Borderlands. We saw the backlash with that whole Epic exclusive, but that didn't stop the game from doing very well and all that stuff. So obviously Google is probably going to do that until they get solid first party games out there and all. So, but I will say, even though it's GYLT, I don't see it as something that pulls you in the way Breath of the Wild did with the Nintendo Switch. I still think it is a fun title, and especially a fun single-player game, and it is one that's worth, I would say, at least taking a look at for those who have the Google Stadia, whether it's on your Mac or whether it's on your PC or if you're playing off your TV and all. So overall, I think it's a good title. I don't think it's a title that's going to pull you. I don't see this as pulling you into Google Stadia or anything like that, but I still think it is worth taking a look at, especially if you're new to Google Stadia or if you are or if Google Stadia is sort of your main system. Okay, this concludes my video review of GYLT. Again, I apologize. I'm not saying the name correctly or anything like that. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What do you thought about GYLT for Google Stadia? Do you think this is a good launch title for when Stadia came out? Do you think the gameplay is enjoyable? Especially some of the stealth or some of the puzzle solving or some of the combat and all that stuff. Did you like the visuals and everything like that? Do you like the idea that the developers are putting a message in there in terms of addressing the issue of bullying and all? Did you like what I said in this video? Did you not like what I said? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!